The MCU limited series Moon Knight has recently wrapped to generally favorable reviews, but it's left fans with a ton of questions. The show, which also featured a load of hidden Easter eggs, had fans exploring each and every scene, competing to find all the hidden references. Today, we're going to be talking about some of the things you might have missed while watching Moon Knight, so stay right where you are. First up, we have the Disney references. Oftentimes, shows will reference other shows, or directors will throw in a small tribute to shows that they've taken inspiration from, or maybe just shows that they're fans of. And Moon Knight is no different. And quite a large amount of these references were aimed at Disney and the whole Disney family. It was even pitched as an Indiana Jones-style show, with some influences from the classic Harrison Ford franchise evident in later episodes. However, it is the Disney references which we noticed the most, particularly Finding Nemo. We come to learn that Stephen Grant has a pet fish named Gus, whom he calls a one-finned wonder, and the reference pops up again when Grant is in the pet store. When questioning the lady working there, she replies by saying, "I don't care what that Nemo movie says," which fans picked up on straight away. It even led to some tweets questioning what actually happened to Gus. Another obvious reference comes when Harrow mentions the word avatars to Grant, prompting him to reference the James Cameron classic. As well as Avatar, The Simpsons is also owned by Disney these days, and Grant even accuses Harrow of stealing Ned Flanders' look in a later episode. It's pretty funny. Another Gus one now. Stick around. If you look closely at Gus's tank in the first episode, you can clearly see that it looks like a toy boat, which is eerily similar to the boat we see Tawa Red on in the Afterlife, which has led some fans to ask some questions as to what the miniature version of the boat is doing in Gus's tank. What are your explanations for this? Let us know down below. Next up, we have Bill Sienkiewicz Easter eggs, so stay with us. Sienkiewicz has a long and storied career in the world of comic books, and the artist who was the inspiration for a blink and you'll miss it Easter egg in the Moon Knight finale. As you'll have seen in the post-credit scene, we see Arthur Harrow in a psychiatric hospital, which is the best place for him, trust us, which harkens back to Spectre's hallucinations and premonitions earlier in the season. We then see Harrow being wheeled out of the hospital by a mysterious helper, who bundles him into a white limo and whisks him away. But if you look carefully, you'll notice the hospital which is housing Harrow is actually named Sienkiewicz Psychiatric Hospital, in a nod to the famed illustrator. We're not sure how much of a say Sienkiewicz had in naming the hospital after himself, but we'd probably think not much, since he wasn't involved in the TV show, only the comics. But it's still a pretty cool nod to the man himself, though, from the show's creators. We're talking Jay-Z, of all people. Stay tuned. You might have been drawn to an odd piece of music during a scene where Steven is leaving the museum. Fans might have been forgiven for missing it, as Steven is occupied with a security guard, whom he corrects when he gets his name wrong. In the background, you can hear the mellow tones of a flute playing.
Night, JB.
Nice guy.
The tune seems to be very similar to Jay-Z and UGK's 2000 classic Big Pimpin'.
It's Big Pimpin', baby. That's right.
But that isn't actually quite the case. The song, which was produced by Timbaland, actually samples a 1957 song by an Egyptian composer, Bali Hamdi, which, of course, is a nod to the Egyptian theme running through the series. Jay-Z's classic song was actually the subject of a lawsuit by Hamdi's family, which was thrown out of court, but the whole incident brought out the issue of how Middle Eastern music influences Western music. And did you guys catch this one? We have an Alexander the Great reference now. In episode 4, Stephen loses Layla after one of the priests manhandles her in a tomb. An argument that ensues between himself and Mark over Layla, but Stephen makes a shocking discovery here. He realizes that the tomb they're actually in belongs to Alexander the Great, the historical Macedonian leader. And of course, the great leader's tomb has never actually been found, but it is then thought to be somewhere in Alexandria, after the man himself was initially buried in Memphis, Egypt. In the MCU, Alexander was the final avatar of Amit, and even has a Marvel counterpart. So what do you guys think of Alexander's tomb being unearthed? Next up, a link to the Falcon and Winter Soldier. Stick around. As we know, there are often references to other MCU shows whenever a new movie or a new show drops. And in Moon Knight, although it's subtle, it's no different. In one scene, whilst Steven and later Mark, after a pretty cool transformation, is tackling a creepy-looking creature, a London bus trundles past the creature. And if you look quickly on the side of the bus, there's an advert for GRC on the side. Of course, you'll probably remember from the Falcon and Winter Soldier that the GRC actually stands for the Global Repatriation Council. The group was integral to the show and helped people who had just returned to Earth with things like reuniting them with their family, counseling, and reintegrating them into the workforce. And of course, it makes sense that the group would still be around, and the rest of their advert reads, "Reuniting you with your better half." And in a cool little reference, the top of the bus also reads WBN 0032. This is a very subtle reference to the comic in which Moon Knight made his debut, Werewolf by Night, number 32. It's pretty cool. Did you guys notice this one? We have a Kong the Conqueror reference now, so stay with us. Throughout the first season, we have seen plenty of QR codes on the screen, which are actually real codes that you can scan to download different bits and pieces. In the 6th episode, it leads fans to a pretty cool battle from Moon Knight Annual number 1, between our hero Moon Knight and Kong the Conqueror. It's thought that Kong could be the next big villain in the MCU, which is even set to make an appearance in the upcoming Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, which is going to drop later this year. Is this QR code suggesting that Moon Knight could have a role to play in the MCU Kong battle? I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. What do you guys think of this one? A nod back to the comics and Jake Lockley now. Yeah, stick around for that. Having at last appeared in the finale, Jake Lockley, another alter ego of Spectre's, boasts a flat cap his alter ego in the comics is always seen in. The gray flat cap is a nod towards the comic book character, but we also see another nod back to the comics. Lockley is seen driving a limo with the license plate SPKTR, which is a super obvious reference to Mark Spector, and comes from the Moon Knight comics, where Steven's limousine is seen with the exact same plate. Did you guys notice this one? We're talking about the goat we saw in episode 4. Yeah, stick around. When we see Layla and Steven find the tomb they've been searching for, they're being watched by a creature which many fans won't have given a second thought to. It's a goat. But this isn't the first time we've seen one of these animals. In episode 2, we saw Steven come across a goat in the town that Harrow lives in. So, why has a goat popped up twice? Well, Khnum, the Egyptian god of fertility, was often depicted with the head of none other than a goat, or a ram. So it's thought that the god could be watching, and he could be watching through the goat itself. What'd you guys make of this goat popping up again? And finally, a link to Black Panther. Fans of Black Panther will have recognized one particular scene from episode 5 in which Taweret is seen telling Mark and Steven that they've passed on to the afterlife. She informs them that there are many versions of the afterlife, mentioning the ancestral plane as one possible location. Of course, this is a direct link back to Black Panther. It's the place where T'Challa goes after he ingests the purple herb to turn into Black Panther. Given the fact that Black Panther sequel is going to be dropping later this year, this takes on a little more significance, don't you think? Are you guys going to be going to the theater to see the new Black Panther when it drops in November? Let us know down below. And if you guys noticed any other references to Easter eggs that we happen to miss out on today, let us know in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for dropping by today, and remember to join us next time for some more fun and games. And also, of course, don't forget to like and share this video with any Moon Knight fans you know, or fans of the MCU in general. Also, remember to subscribe to our channel too, so you don't miss out on more videos that we make. Later, guys.